So now I'll give a little talk for about 25 minutes and afterwards be open for questions and answers, however long you have. So, having given many talks about Buddhism to many people over many countries, you see that it's not just giving deep teachings, it's also making the teachings entertaining as well. We live in an age of infotainment, and if we don't manage to give a little bit of fun and games to our Dhamma teaching, then of course people won't be interested. And so usually when I give a talk, I've got the audience in front of me, I can see them. When they start sort of looking at their clock or getting out their iPhones to text somebody, I realize I've lost them and it's time for a joke. So I intersperse my teachings just with little bits of humor. As one Tibetan monk said a long time ago, that when people's mouths are open, laughing, only then can he throw in the pill of Dhamma once their mouths are open. Which is very good. And even these days, because I found humor one of the greatest helps to letting people receive the Dhamma, that I try to transcend all the three major traditions. As many of you would know, the three major traditions of Buddhism are the Hinayana, the Mahayana, and the Vajrayana. And I wanted to combine them. So I take the H from Hinayana, and the middle of Mahayana, the Aha from Mahayana, and add the Yana from Vajrayana, and that spells my tradition, the Hahayana. So I'm a I'm a Hahayana monk. But it's not just for fun, because through humor you can convey a lot of powerful teachings. And there's one such teaching which is important for all people, whether they're in the lay world or the monastic world, which is learning how to let go of the past. Because many of us become prisoners from the awful things which happened to us when we were young or earlier on, or even just early today. And it is very against the teachings of the Dhamma to be able to have all that suffering for what happened in the past. It's because of that there's a little story which I tell many, many times to many people. And because I also teach psychologists, before they go out there into the world to do the training, they say this is one of the stories which they actually use in their practice again and again and again. And it also shows how we can combine very deep teachings with great humor. And this is a story which many of you, if you've listened to my talks, may have heard before. It's the story of the two chicken farmers. Once upon a time, there were two chicken farmers. The first chicken farmer got up early in the morning to collect the produce from the night before. So the chicken farmer took the basket and entered the chicken shed, and then filled his basket full of chicken shit, and left the eggs in the shed to rot. He brought the shit back into the house with him, where it made such a terrible smell that his whole family were very upset at him. He was a very dumb chicken farmer. Chicken farmer number two. He was a smart chicken farmer. He took his basket into the shed and he filled the basket full of eggs. He left the shit in the shed to rot, where it would become a valuable fertilizer later on. But he doesn't bring the fertilizer, the shit, into the house with him. He leaves it in the shed. And he brings the eggs back into the house, where he makes a nice omelette for his family's breakfast, and then sells the rest of the eggs in the market for cash. He is a very smart chicken farmer. And the meaning of that story is this. when you collect the produce of your past, when you remember what's happened to you so far in your life or so far today, what do you put in your basket and bring home with you? Are you shit collectors or egg collectors? And usually I find most people in the West are shit collectors. In other words, all the rotten things which happened to you, they're the things you remember. You know, what your ex-partner did to you, you know, what your parents did to you, or they should have done, which they didn't. You know, what happened to you on the way to the campus today, what the girlfriend, the boyfriend did to you, all those rotten things. That's what you remember. That's what you put in your basket and bring home with you. You're shit collectors. No wonder people are dumb. Instead of that, collect the eggs. All of the beautiful things that's happened to you so far in your life. Or the wonderful experiences you've had with your partner. Or the great times you've had with your family. Put that in your basket and bring that home with you. And if you do that, straight away, you're a much happier person. And for those of you who think that you learn from your mistakes, actually you learn much more from your successes than you'll ever learn from what went wrong. People who keep focusing on mistakes, whether it's in life, in meditation, in your academic career, if you keep focusing on your mistakes, you get very negative, angry, and depressed. It's one of the great causes of depression in our modern world, because we are so angry and so fault-finding. And that's one of the reasons why people can't get peaceful meditation too. Instead of looking at what's peaceful in this moment, instead of looking at what's beautiful in this body and mind, instead we look at all the faults and what's wrong, which is one of the reasons why we can never find any peace or happiness or contentment, no stillness. There's always something to do, something to fix up, something to mend, which means we're never, ever peaceful and still. So understanding that story, at least if you collect all the eggs of your life, at least you can have an omelette and maybe sell something in the market for cash. If you keep on remembering all the things which went wrong, all your own mistakes, again, you just don't have the inner energy and happiness to live a successful life, and also to get some decent meditation and see the Dhamma. So the fault-finding mind is one of the first things which is important to transcend. And don't be a shit collector, be an egg collector. It's the same. Many people have got photograph albums in their home. And in their photo albums they have pictures of their graduation, pictures of their marriage ceremony, pictures of them being in holidays somewhere beautiful. But I've never ever seen anybody have a photograph album of their divorce. I've never seen anyone have a photo album of them doing assignments late into the night. I never see anyone having you have a photo of your graduation, of your marriage. Never see anyone stuck in the traffic, in the early morning, trying to get to campus or trying to go to work. You have photographs of your holidays. We have photographs of our happy times. Because we use those photographs to inspire us, to uplift us, and to give us the happiness which gives us the energy to live our life. In the same way, the photograph album between your ears, called your memory. Please take out all the rotten photographs in that photograph album between your ears. Throw them away, and instead keep the happy memories of your beautiful meditations, the time you were successful, the time you had a beautiful day with your partner, with your family. If you remember those beautiful times, you will learn why they were beautiful, why they were successful. You will learn the secrets of success. Also, you will inspire yourself, give yourself happiness. And if you give yourself happiness, we all know that happiness is good for your health. I have heard that in the United States there is an obesity epidemic. Those of you who can see me, can see me that, Buddhism is expanding in our modern world, and so am I. But have you ever noticed that fat people are always happy? They're always jolly. And there's a reason for that. It's a scientific reason. Because ask any medical practitioner, if you laugh, if you're happy, your arteries and veins, they expand. Which means whatever gunk you've got flowing through your blood veins has more space to get through. But if you're miserable, then your arteries and veins, they contract, they get thinner. Which means, if you have got too much cholesterol in there or other gunk, it stuffs up the arteries, you have a cardiac arrest or stroke, you're dead. Which means all the miserable fat people, they died a long time ago. So the only ones who survive are the happy ones. You see, so this is... So this is good for your health. And it's also great for your meditation. Seriously, the Buddha actually said, just to show I know what I'm talking about, this is Pali. One of the great phrases of the Buddha is Sukhino Chittang Samadhiyati. It was said many, many times by the Buddha, not just in one sutta, maybe 100 times in the Pali suttas. It means from happiness, the mind becomes still. It's a beautiful saying. Because if you have unhappiness, you just got too many things to fix up. You can't rest, you can't relax. But when you have happiness, you can have contentment. I'm now going to tell you a real Buddhist joke. But being a joke, it also has deep meaning as well. One day, somebody called one of the monks up at their monastery, and they asked the Venerable Sir, can you please come to my house to do an important ceremony today? And the monk said, I'm sorry, sir, I cannot go, I'm busy. And the caller said, what are you doing? And the monk said, nothing. That's what monks are supposed to do. Relax, meditate, do nothing. And the man was wise enough to know, okay, Venerable Sir, carry on doing nothing. And he hung up the phone. But he rang the next day and said, Venerable Sir, can you come to my house to do an important ceremony? And the monk replied over the phone, I'm sorry, I cannot come, I'm busy. And the caller said, what are you doing, Venerable? And the monk said, nothing. That's what you were doing yesterday, said the caller. Yes, said the monk, but I'm not finished yet. No, I love that joke. That's a real, true Buddhist joke. But it's also very true. Get nothing out of the way, first of all, before you do all this other stuff. In other words, get your rest and peace finished, first of all. Because if you don't learn how to be still and peaceful, you'll never enjoy your life. You never understand the Dhamma. You'll never understand why there is such a thing called Buddhism in this world. It's okay to strive and to do things and to work hard to get your degrees and to contribute to the happiness and welfare of this world. But if you don't know how to be still, you don't understand what the true welfare of the world is. And also you just contribute to more problems rather than solving problems. It's really important to learn just how to be peaceful and learn how to be still. One of my favorite sayings, which I adapted to the meditation, which was very important for each one of you, is the saying that when you want something more, you can't enjoy what you already have. In other words, you have lots of things, and maybe a good relationship, maybe a good apartment or house to stay in. But because we're always wanting something more, we're always on the move, we can never enjoy what we already have. And many people are always on the move every moment of their life, and they have no enjoyment at all, no real enjoyment of what they've already achieved or what they already have. Even myself, many years ago, I realised I was being far too busy. Over here in Australia, I have a number of centres I have to look after. I'm speaking now from our retreat centre. Over the road I have my monastery with 21 monks right now. There's a city centre I look after in the middle of Perth. And some years ago I found myself going on Friday afternoon to our city centre, working really hard all weekend, coming back on Sunday evening, just looking out for all the work which needed to be done, and Monday to Friday working at our monastery, looking after the monks, administrating, building. It was 7 days a week. And I realized I was being a great hypocrite. And people would come and visit the monastery where I lived and say, what a beautiful monastery it is. And I could not believe that they said it was a beautiful monastery. I said, can't you see all the things which need to be fixed up, all the gutters which need to be cleaned, all the things which need to be painted, all the people I need to sort of write to? And I realized that I was seeing my monastery through the eyes of an abbot. And I decided to look at my monastery through the eyes of a visitor. The visitors could see my monastery and could see all the beauty in it, or I could see the things which needed to be fixed and mended and done. Because of that, I lost my ability to have peace and happiness in my own monastery. So I decided every Monday in the morning I'd walk around the monastery in which I lived with the eyes of a visitor rather than with the eyes of an owner. And if you look at things with the eyes of a visitor, you can appreciate all the things which have been done, appreciate all the beauty, and have a very, very peaceful morning. If you look through the eyes of an owner, there's too much stuff to be done. You can never have any rest. So all it needs to do is to change the attitude slightly, to look at your apartment, to look at your office, at least for a little bit every day, as a visitor, not as an owner, so you can have a bit of peace, a bit of rest. One of my other sayings is that never do today what you can put off until tomorrow, because you might die tonight. And it's true, one day you are going to die. And all this stuff you got out of the way, is a waste of time. So get doing nothing out of the way first of all. Every now and again, look at life with the eyes of a visitor, not as an owner. Like you're visiting your body, not owning it. So enjoy all of the great things you've done for your body, looking after it, exercising it, caring for it, and enjoy it. Your office, your life. Now, how many of you, you go home and people say, oh, what a lovely house you've got. You're so lucky to live in that apartment. And you think of it as saying, wow, there's so many things I need to do to get it right. And if you look through the eyes of an owner, there's always things to be done. There's always things wrong. Look through the eyes of a visitor and you find it's quite okay. So the other saying, when you go back to your home or apartment this evening and you see all the dishes and cups in the sink needed to be washed and cleaned, before you clean them all, before you even start running the water, count how many cups and dishes are clean, stacked in the shelves. And if there's more clean dishes than dirty ones, quit while you're ahead. Why not? Come on. Because otherwise we get to be this very restless beings, always on the move, always doing things, never getting any peace at all. And in fact, in our Western world, I'm in the southern world, Australia, but the same culture, where is the only place in your city where you find people resting in peace? Where's the only place you see the letters R.I.P.? In the cemetery, and it's too late then. So instead of waiting till you die to have some peace, my goodness, you can't enjoy it then. Have some peace now, for goodness sake. So understanding that, you understand it's good for your life, and it's also good for other people. Compassion is an important part of the Buddhist teaching. And please remember all the people who have to put up with you. So give them a break and get some peace first of all. I know many times I've been given some meditation instructions in the evening to a few groups around the city of Perth. And very often it's happened that, say, a lady has come and said, I never wanted to come this evening. I was so busy and tired when I came back from the office. I just wanted to sit in front of the TV or just rest or something. They say, my children told me to come. They said, Mummy, you must go to meditation. Why, darling? I'm too tired. Mummy, you must go. No, I just want to have a rest. Mummy, please go to meditation, the children say. And Mummy says, why? Because, Mummy, you are a much nicer mummy after you come home from meditation. And that's actually true. You're a much nicer husband, a much nicer wife, a much nicer partner, a much nicer professor after you've done some meditation. So remember that. You meditate, you give yourself stillness, you give yourself some peace out of compassion for all the people who have to put up with you. And also just to give some happiness and peace to yourself. Because a lot of time you ask, what's the meaning of life? And people can philosophize, they can write all sorts of books and give all sorts of talks. But you should all know that the only time you find any truth at all is when the mind's at peace. I often ask people to try and remember the most peaceful time of their whole life. So far in the years you've lived, when was that moment, or maybe many moments if you're lucky, when you felt so at ease, so content, so happy? And then you ask why. What were the causes and conditions which gave rise to that great sense of peace and happiness? And you'll find there was a great feeling of contentment there. There were moments when there was nothing you wanted, where the whole world in that moment was perfect and complete for you. Even though there were still things to be done in the world, and there was much suffering, in that moment you could be content with the world, content with yourself and your place in it. It's this beautiful compassion towards not just people, but towards life. In the book which Sumi wrote a blurb to, The Opening the Door of Your Heart, it was called in the Australian version, who ordered this truckload of shit in the American version. And please, one of the words of the Buddha, one of the sayings of the Buddha, he told his monks, his disciples, when you teach the Dhamma, you must teach in the local language. I'm talking to America, and you use the word shit all the time, so I'm talking in the local language. So, who ordered this truckload of shit, it should have been called. But anyway, the English version was Opening the Door of Your Heart. And in that version, I related a story which gave rise to the title, the story of my father, who took me aside once and said, son, whatever you do in your life, wherever you go, however you turn out, I want you to remember one thing, the door of my house will always be open to you. But what he really meant, I figured out much later, was not the door of his house, the door of his heart. He was giving me unconditional love. No matter how I turned out, no matter what I did, I was his son, and that was enough for unconditional love. And I realized from that that is such a deep part of the Dhamma, which I applied not just to human beings, but also to myself, and also to the whole of life as well. No matter what you have to experience in life, some of it very pleasant, some are very, very hard to endure. A great disappointment, a loss, a cancer, whatever. There comes a time when we say, life, no matter what you give to me, no matter how you turn out, the door of my heart is open to you. Life. Unconditional love towards this thing we call our existence. Totally being at peace with things and realizing you don't have to be perfect to be loved, nor does life have to be perfect to be loved, to be at peace with, to be content. It's a great Dharma which finds the beauty where other people only find faults and things to fix up. It finds contentment where other people are rushing around trying to change things. Those moments in life of peace, of freedom, and most importantly of all, when you turn that story onto yourself and you say to yourself, me, this person I've known for as long as I can remember, this person I've grown up with, this person who I've faced so many trials and troubles and had so much fun with, me. The door of my heart is open to me too. Not just the pleasant part, not just the part which I am proud of, but the whole of me. Come in. Feeling of being at peace with oneself. To be able to love the whole of oneself. To be able to open the door of your heart to life, yourself, and all others. That's compassion. So there you go. So that's the half an hour talk. Now's the time for questions, comments, and complaints. So, who's going to ask the first question? Okay. Take it. Okay. Well, look, I'll give you a little story which I always use to get the first question. This comes from the Chula Kama Vibhanga Sutra of the Majjhima Nikaya. There, that a man asked the Buddha about the nature of karma and rebirth or reincarnation. He was asking, why is it that some people are born wealthy, while other people are born poor? You know, even some of us, we work very hard. Even though we work hard, we work hard at university, work hard in the business, we still don't get wealthy. Other people, they hardly do anything, and they just make all this money. There must be some karmic cause behind that. So the Buddha gave the reason why you will be wealthy or why you will be poor in your next life. And the man was so happy with that he asked another question. And the question was, why is it that some people are born beautiful while other people are born ugly? Now, usually when I mention this in public, when I mention the word beautiful, I always look at the floor. And the reason was this, because once in Singapore, I mentioned this, that why some people are born beautiful, why some people are born ugly. I just happened to be looking at one woman when I mentioned the word ugly, and she complained. Why did you mention the word ugly when you're looking at me? And it's even more dangerous as a monk to mention the word beautiful when you're watching a woman. So I always put my head down. Anyhow, he gave a really good answer. But the next question was, what's the karmic cause for intelligence? And why are some people stupid? Why are some of you in this university, where I'm talking to now, they just breeze through to get, top scores, honours, triple A's, whatever it is you use to grade your results, and they don't do much work. While others of you have to work harder and harder and harder, and still it's a struggle to graduate. What is a karmic cause for intelligence and stupidity. And the Buddha answered, you could check this out, it's true. The karmic cause for stupidity is not asking questions. Are there any questions? Yeah, I always get a question from that one. I think you may have to take off the video link because the question wasn't clear. Yeah. Good. That's better. No, no, I didn't. Can you repeat it for me? Okay. Very good. It's you can develop your daily practice by realizing the intellectual benefits of meditation in academia. In other words, if you can really get some very deep meditation, really, really deep meditation, then any examinations and tests, you'll be able to see them the night before using the power of your mind, and you'll be able to get all the answers very quickly. But seriously, it's been well proven, as many people know, that if you train your mind in stillness, number one, it's much easier to absorb information, and it's also much easier to organize it, and much easier to give the answers afterwards when required. There's another simile which I give, hopefully you can see me, and this is actually for anybody who's working hard at university. It's how heavy is my cup of tea? Don't answer in terms of grams or pounds or ounces. The longer I hold it, the heavier it feels. After 1 minute, my arm starts to ache. In 5 minutes, it's in pain. In half an hour, if I keep holding it like this, I'm in agony and a very stupid monk. When it gets heavy, I put it down. I rest for a few minutes. And after resting for a few minutes, when I take it up again, it's easier to handle. It's lighter. It's exactly the same weight, but because I've rested, it feels lighter and easier to carry. The reason why people get stressed out at university or at work is not because they have so much work to do. It's because the inefficient way they use their brain. When you get tired, rest, meditate. And 5 or 10, 15 minutes of meditation is made up very quickly afterwards by greater efficiency, a mind which is more precise, which is more creative, which can perform to a much higher level. One of the reasons why in life, in business, at university, people don't perform to their potential because they keep on holding their burden and they just don't know how to put it down and rest. Your practice, if it's done well, will not be hindering your duties in academia. They will be assisting them with greater efficiency of mind, a much more positive attitude towards what you have to deal with, and also a much more innovative mind, you'll be able to succeed where others fail. So what I'm telling you now is that this is a priority. It is very much a win-win situation, not an either-or. You can win both by having a very good meditation practice, learning how to relax very quickly and efficiently, learning how to be kind quickly and efficiently, innovative. Never let your knowledge stand in the way of truth. That's called innovation. And that way you can be a great academic, a great Buddhist practitioner. You have the very best of both worlds. Don't need to sacrifice either. When you understand the practice, it's not apart from your life. It's not in contradiction to what you're trying to do in academia. This helps. Everything works together. How's that? Oh, that's because it's not frozen, I'm meditating. No, that's a lie. That's only a joke. Yeah, reconnect. Okay. You could hear all that? They're reconnecting. Okay. Very good. Very good. Yep. Hi. Very good. You've got very good taste. Okay, remember, I actually was offered a job once it is the most prestigious comedy club in the whole of Australia, the Melbourne Comedy Club. I'd just given a talk in Melbourne, and this professional comedian who goes on TV in Australia came up to me and offered me a job as a stand-up comedian. I said no, I prefer my day job as a monk. But again, a lot of times the reason why people can't sort of enjoy their life is because they're too afraid of what other people think of them, or they're too afraid of what they think of themselves. So remember, a lot of humor is being human and not really worrying too much about how you come across. The story which I like, which makes it very clear, is a story that when you're in your 20s, in your teens, early 20s, that's when you have to dress up to impress your peers. And we have to speak well and like the right sort of things. Because when you're in your 20s, your teens, maybe early 30s, you are really concerned what other people think of you. Later on in life, in your 40s and 50s, you get what we call self-confidence. Basically, you couldn't give a damn what other people think of you. You're going to do it anyway. And later on in your 60s, you come to the realization that people weren't thinking about you anyway. So if you can they're thinking about themselves, which means I can say whatever I like. I don't care what you think about me. You tell a joke, it doesn't work. It doesn't matter. You just laugh. So you don't take life so heavily. Maybe that's one of the reasons why, you can enjoy life, because you're burdened, the weight of all the things you have to do. The burden of trying to achieve and live up to things is all taken away. So you can just relax. I think in that relaxation, that freedom, there's a lot of humour. You can't force humour. You can just have to relax, be light, be free, and then humour comes. Like His Holiness Dalai Lama is a good example. He's a very funny man. And the way he laughs, it's a laugh which is a freedom laugh. Not forced, but just finds life very funny. So that's the way to laugh, with a sense of freedom. And obviously we're just laughing at our own stupidity. And I'm as stupid as any of you, probably more. But that's what we laugh at. Make sense? Very good. Sure, yeah. Okay, well, yeah, I got that. Very good. Well, living a monastic life is like everything around you. Everything around you is supporting, you letting go and being free. But sometimes in the world it's very, very sticky. You get stick to your girlfriend, boyfriend, stick to your family, stick to your... Look, we don't have credit cards as monks. Oh, it's so free. You don't have to wait for the bill coming in the end of the month. So there's there's many, many things which you are free of being a monastic. That's why, why not become a monastic? It's a very lovely lifestyle. Do you have, at the end of your career at university, do you have, people coming around suggesting careers? Like people coming from places like Google or IBM trying to recruit people? Maybe I can start a stall at university, Careers Day. Live the life of a monk, a wonderful experience. Have happiness. The pay's not much good, but you can have happiness forever. But even as a lay, if you're stuck in the lay world, you can still do a huge amount. So I know that it's really bad for monks or nuns to talk down to lay people. Hopefully I never do that. So you can do a huge amount. So just be very, very kind and be forgiving. Let go of the past. And if you're going to do something, it's not just for you. It's just for all the people all the people you'll ever meet. So when you do develop yourself, to develop yourself not just for your own benefit, not just for your family's benefit, for the benefit of the whole community, even the whole world. And be inspired. Be inspired to do something different, something more. And whenever there is a moral question, never sort of take the easy path. Take always a good path. In the end of your life, you have to live with the consequences of your actions. You look back and see what you've done. And that's when all those times you really take the hard decision, which may have caused you personal pain, which is obviously the right thing to do. It's a good thing to do, a wonderful thing to do. Is move life forward in a beautiful direction. Then you'll be a very happy person when you die. So don't just look for the short-term benefits. Look for the long-term happiness and prosperity of all beings. Be like a compassionate Buddha. Why not? So that's what you do. That's what I try and do. Life as a Buddhist monk, you have a nice easy time, but you have to make many sacrifices as well. Make many hard decisions. We make those hard decisions. Never thinking for yourself. Thinking for the benefit of all sentient beings. Moving this world forward. Because my goodness, we really need more examples like that. So you be one of them. Okay? You still there? Very good. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the talk. Please go home and do something good.